Evening, everyone. Sorry for the inconvenience, and we started a bit late. Welcome to another healthy session talk with CAHN. This session was supposed to be hosted by Dr. Hibbah, but she's not here right now, so she does send her regards and apologies over. So, how's everyone doing? How's your day been? It's been a very wet and cold day today. I hope we all had a good day. Well, okay. I hope everyone had a good day. So, how have we been? How's everyone coping? The country has been a bit with the economic crisis and all of that. How we adjusting to that? Are we still trying to eat healthy, or is it difficult now? Is it more difficult than it used to be before? Is anyone available to share any thoughts? Well, I'll just go. Well, for me, it's been quite tough because now there's an increase in foodstuff and lots of other things aside from the energy crisis. Getting fruits and veggies has become quite a bit tough because most times when you go to the session that says reduced to clear because you want to try and get it a bit cheaper, and if you do get that, it gets bad within 2-3 days. So most times there's no point. So it's been a struggle getting fruits and veggies for me, but yeah, I'm still pushing and I'm still trying. So that's why in today's session, we have Jasmine Carbon. So Jasmine is going to do a live cooking session for us. She's going to show us how to make affordable, key emphasis on affordable. So she's going to show us how to make affordable meals. And also, I need everyone to please pay attention because she's going to be giving us tips on how to preserve certain food products and how to cook more with tin foods. So whatever questions you have, please pop it into the chat and I'll be handing over to Jasmine now. Jasmine, I think you're still muted.
I am mute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, like I said, well, you didn't hear me, but my name's Jasmine. I've been I've been on CAHN before to do a few talks and education sessions, but now today I'm here with you in a different setting. We're in my home, so welcome to my kitchen. And I'm going to be doing a food demonstration, like Sylvia said, on something, on an affordable meal using spices and ingredients that we would normally use within kind of Caribbean and African cooking. It's not specifically a Caribbean or African dish. It's just, you know, kind of using spices and herbs that we would normally have in our cupboard. And I'm going to do a bit of a spice demonstration in a moment. What I'm going to do now is quickly put the chicken. I've had this chicken marinating overnight, so chicken thighs. I'm going to put them in the oven now. I've set it at 200, and hopefully before the end of, you know, the sessions, at before 7, it'll be done. So I'm just going to chuck it in now. I can go through what I've used to season. So most of us are probably familiar with pre-made seasonings, so things, you know, be it kind of all-purpose, jerk seasoning, chicken seasoning, and they can be, you know, quite convenient, especially if we haven't got the time or the you know, cupboard space to have all the different seasonings available. But what I would say with the ones which are pre-seasoned, they tend to be quite high in salt or sodium. So where possible, do try and get the individual spices and use that to season up your meats and your fish. So in this chicken, you might have seen that it was quite kind of bright yellow in color. So that was a bit of turmeric that I put in there. And what I've done, I like to kind of get these spices in the world food aisles in a supermarket, or go to my local African Caribbean shop and get it in a bag. I can show you some bags actually. For example, this bag here, it's 99p for the whole thing. Whereas if you were to get the little jar of spices, it would be, you know, kind of looking at £2 upwards. So get the individual bags, get yourself some jars from any home store. I think these are from a home still beginning of I. And then they come in like packs of 6, and then simply just put a label on it, although turmeric is quite, distinctive colour, so I would have been able to spot it without the label. And that's just one cost-saving way of making sure you've got enough spices in your cupboard without necessarily having to kind of like get too many individual ones. Now, turmeric, as I've explained before in a previous talk, is really good for we know it can help with IBS symptoms. So if you suffer from bloating or kind of gut irritation, having some turmeric or turmeric in your food can actually help balance that. And we know that having turmeric with black pepper, which I've also added into the chicken, kind of makes it a bit more activated as well. So these two go hand in hand. So using one, definitely put black pepper in there as well. I've also used dried coriander. No reason other than this is one of the seasonings which is listed in a standard chicken kind of dry seasoning. So I thought, well, rather than using the dried chicken seasoning, I'm going to use the individual ingredients themselves and add some in. In terms of the quantities, I kind of just shake until my ancestors tell me to stop. There's no kind of measurements, as I think most of us do. We don't tend to measure our seasonings. We just kind of go for the ones that we like. And then I've also put some smoked paprika in there as well. And lastly, what's that? That was it. No, these are just examples. So we do actually have, we do actually have chicken seasoning at home. As you can see, it's quite, not used as much because we tend to use the individual ingredients instead, and we use that in our cooking. So I've also put some fresh garlic as well that I've used, and we know that garlic has some really good antioxidant properties and some natural preservation properties for our meats and fish. So using things like onion and garlic in like marinating meats and fish is a really, really good way to help not only flavour the meat, but also kind of add a bit of shelf life to it. So those are seasonings I've used. So what I'm going to do next is start to do the rice and bean dish, or rice and peas. So that's what's going to complement the chicken. I've chosen to do that because we often find that we have quite a bit too much meat within our diets. So as opposed to, when I do serve it up, as opposed to plating 2 pieces of chicken to, kind of help us feel fuller, I'm going to be adding beans to the rice. So we've got the additional protein, the additional fiber, and then that means we don't actually need the, extra piece of meat. And that actually stretches the meal a bit longer. I didn't actually say, but the shopping that I did, well, the meal in itself should cost about 60p per portion. So that would be the cost of the chicken, the vegetables, and the rice accompaniment that I'm making. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the bean dish. So I'm just going to turn this on and get my beans. So some of us use, so I've actually got black eye beans from a tin. It could be dried, it could be from a tin. I've used this for a time-saving perspective. I think there's some people feel that tinned foods aren't as good for you, or there's some scaremongering around it. But in terms of time saving, it can be a really, really good way to get additional protein into your diet without, especially if you might have forgotten, to soak it overnight. This doesn't need any pre-soaking. It's simply a case of opening the tin, rinsing the kind of water out, and then kind of using it in your cooking. So I'm going to add this in now, heat it through before then, I'm going to season it up a little bit, add my rice, and then add the water as well. And then that's the rice cooking. I've chosen to use white rice, so let me just, I've rinsed it already. Let me get a lid to show you. So we're using white long grain rice, simply because I know within the community, we tend to eat more white rice within our diet as opposed to brown rice. And sometimes doing that swap of white rice to brown rice can be quite difficult. So as a way to try and increase our fiber in a cost-effective way, adding beans to any rice dish will do that. So that's why I've gone for white rice, because I know, our population tends to prefer white rice. But if we are going to do that, I'm doing it in a healthier way by adding extra protein and fiber through the use of the beans. So we'll let that be a minute. Just going to stir it through. So I'm just going to be really simple. So I'm just going to add a bit of what I'm in the mood for. Probably some dried garlic and a bit of chili. I do have fresh chilies, which in fact, yeah, I'll put a fresh chili in it and then just pick it out once it's done. So these are just some dried fresh chilies I've got. I'm just going to put the whole one in. Okay. So I'm going to be quite cautious with the amount of salt that I use as well. So anything that I do, I'm going to put it in, put it in my hand and then pinch it into the food, as opposed to kind of like free serving or free pouring salt, because that's it can be difficult to manage when we do that. So I'm just going to heat the beans through. They're actually cooked, so it doesn't need that much heating through, to be honest. This is, like I said, it's a really pre-washed rice, so I've kind of washed it until all the starch has come out. So that's going to prevent the rice from being sticky, and hopefully we're going to get some really nice fluffy rice mixed in with the beans. Like that. So 3. Might end up putting it in the back, actually. So just going to get some, I'm going to fill the kettle with water before pouring it to the back. Just going to allow that to filter. Actually, whilst we're here, I know some people prefer bottled water. I used to live with someone who always bought bottled water, and I convinced them to buy a filter as a cost-saving measurement as well. So even someone that prefers bottled water, I'll definitely say invest in a filtering, be it water jug or a kettle, so you're not having to buy loads and loads of plastic bottles. It's sustainable. You're improving the planet, reducing your greenhouse, you're reducing your carbon footprint by reducing the amount of plastic that you're using, by switching over to a filter jug or kettle. So definitely do that. Okay, so that's heating through nicely. So now it's going to add the water. Just enough. I'm hoping it's enough water that it will absorb everything and there'll be no need to drain it. I know some people do rice to a point where it needs draining, but there should be just the right amount where that we wouldn't need to do that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that in the back. Let me just see the time. So the next step I would need to do is the vegetable accompaniment. Now, I know with a lot of Caribbean and African cooking, we tend to incorporate our vegetables in stews, in soups, and within our dishes, as opposed to having them separate. So this, I could have done it with this meal. I could have incorporated it in the chicken. I could have, cooked it in the oven and then finished it off in the pan on a hob. Or, yeah, I could have included it within the rice. But just to kind of show you the different cooking styles, I'm going to cook it separately. I've chosen kale, not a typical ingredient we would use in our cooking, but I've gone for it simply because in the supermarket it was on offer. And I know a lot of people kind of think, oh, kale's one of those, superfoods, it's meant to be really healthy for you. It is, but don't eat it if you don't like it. Don't force it upon yourself if you don't like it. There's loads of other really good green leafy vegetables that we can have in our diet, from spinach, spring greens, callaloo, bitter leaf. All those things are really, really good and a great source of vitamin K, iron, Folic acid, so don't feel the need to try and incorporate the superfoods in your diet. Do, if you can, if they're enough there. This whole bag of kale was, how much is this? It doesn't give me the weight. It's probably about like 200 gram, 150 gram bag, and that cost me 90p. So quite a decent amount. The only thing is you need to properly rinse it off as you would do anyway. So just being really mindful of the amount of water that we're using. Don't need too much. So I'm just thinking, how many people? I'm cooking for 3. So I'm going to do 3 generous handfuls. The great thing about veg is that we want that to be the main component of our plate, or at least half of our plate when we're serving it out. So don't, if you overdo it, that's absolutely fine. All right. In terms of a storage tip, I'm now going to put just a piece of tissue paper in there to help absorb the moisture within the bag, and that'll help it, kind of survive in the fridge a little bit longer. That's just the same applies with any bagged salads or bags of spinach. If you don't want to freeze it, you don't want to wash and freeze it, put just a standard tissue paper in the bag, and as simple as that. That is going to absorb any excess moisture which is in the bag that collects, and it prevents the cabbage, be it cabbage, kale, spinach, salad, from wilting too quickly and kind of going manky before it's time. So leave that, and that will go in the fridge. Now I'm just going to rinse this off. Okay. I'll just put the lid on that. Okay. The next step, everything's. I mean, I'm quite a lazy is the wrong word. I would say time effective cook, in that I like to just put things in the oven and then walk away. But unfortunately, I can't today. So the last thing I literally have to do is to heat up the vegetables. So what I would like to do is probably share my screen for a few moments to go over the costings of the foods I've bought, a bit more of an overview of the seasons that I've gone over, and also to go through supermarket tips, supermarket shopping tips, local food store and market shopping tips, and also some links to discount stores and websites and vouchers. Because like Sylvia said in the beginning, we are in the middle of, because not a living crisis, but an economic crisis where the cost of living is just astronomical, no matter what walk of life you're coming from. So we just have to be a bit more mindful. Oh, this is bubbling away. Yeah, mindful of our spend and mindful of our food wastage. So if I can share my screen, do I have access? Do I have opportunity to share? I do, lovely, thank you. Where's my PDF? Oh, sorry, let me get it up. That's probably be helpful. Okay. Apologies, let me just find it's coming from a desktop. It could be better if I have it. Some downloads. Okay. Right. Okay, can we see that?
Yeah, we can.
Amazing, thank you. So guest in today's session, covering cooking demo, currently in progress. And then next we go over some supermarket shopping tips, market shopping tips, and then looking at discounts and where to spot them. And also some of the tricks that supermarkets play on us. They really do kind of get into our psyche and try to get us to spend more than what we would otherwise want to do. For example, have you noticed that the eggs are never in a logical place? They make you walk around the whole supermarket, and in that process, you end up picking things you don't necessarily need. It's not an accident. They've intentionally done that. So there's a few other tips that I can mention. So, like I said, I did a food shop in a local supermarket, in a large supermarket, and I got chicken thighs, 8-piece, if there's actually 6 pieces, so that's incorrect, sorry. So 6 pieces for £2.60. It had the skin on. When I did a comparison, the chicken without the skin and boneless was more expensive. So it's just a case of, kind of taking the extra time, going for the cheaper meat option, but then, kind of taking the time to take the skin off and any visible fat as well. Something like chicken breast would be a healthier option, and even turkey breast. But if we're kind of looking at trying to reduce our costs, something like chicken thighs is a perfect alternative, as long as we remove visible fat and the skin of chicken as well. I also included some chopped tomatoes, which I'm not actually going to use today because I don't think we need it. There'll be too much ingredients. That's another point, actually. Sometimes we feel the need to add more and more to our cooking and our dishes. Sometimes just stripping it back to what we need is a better option. Again, it's a cost saving, and it means that we're not wasting our food. Bag of sweet peppers, £1.25, bag of kale, 90p, and then the tin of black-eyed peas was 50p. I was actually quite disappointed because I remember that particular tin of beans being 3 for £1, and that offer's completely gone now, so that was quite disheartening to see. But gram for gram, it did still work out being cheaper doing that way than, say, going for the dried kidney beans and dried black-eyed beans and having them soak. So even without the discount, it still worked out to be cheaper. So all in all, once we take this into account, costing per person will be, so it's £2.60 plus 0.5 plus 0.9 plus 1.25, 0.5, 6. Yeah, so looking at about 70p per portion, which is pretty good going, really. And we're going to have leftovers, and I'll talk you through how best to store the leftovers. So in terms of the seasonings that I have used and will be using today, these are some of kind of like our favourite seasonings that we like to use within Caribbean and West African cooking that are listed here. The ones in the blue, the kind of bright blue, are the ones I've used. So it's been bay leaf, which will go in with the peppers, garlic, chili peppers, thyme, and pimento seeds. So just a bit of an overview for those who weren't able to listen to the talk that I did before. Pimento seeds, which is very popular within Jamaican cuisines, used in jerk and stews and in rice and peas. In fact, did I even add it? Yeah, I've got them here. Let me put them in now. So yeah, so pimento peas, also known as allspice. Sometimes they can be, well, when it's in the form of allspice, we tend to see it ground down in a jar, but you can also get it in a bag whole. So I'm just going to add now 2 to my rice and peas which are bubbling away, just for extra seasoning. Could have added cloves as well. Oh, I'm just going to stir that as well. A spoon. Oh, what's my spoon? Found it. Okay. It's coming out really nice. Don't want it to dry out too quickly. And so in terms of the properties of pimento or allspice, we've seen that it has some properties linked to being cancer protective or cancer avoidant, in terms of kind of protecting certain, or so promoting anti-cancer inhibitors, which kind of prevents cancers from happening. It also has some antifungal properties and also antimicrobial properties. So again, kind of going down the route of it being preservative. It is important to note that, you know, kind of having it, for the studies that they've kind of, what I've mentioned here, they do kind of talk about the extract and it being quite high levels, which may not be palatable, but it's to say that if we are kind of getting little bits, we are getting those properties from the herbs and seasonings themselves, which is really positive. Bay leaf, be it dried or we can only get it dried in the UK, unfortunately, but if we were in more tropical climates, be able to get it more fresh. So typically we'd have it in meats and vegetable curries. And in terms of its herbal uses and alternative remedies, we've seen it in things like wound healing. It can act as an insect repellent. Some people have used it to treat loose bowels, and it can help treat sickness feelings as well, and it can be used to kind of help flush symptoms that help people go to the toilet a bit more regularly. In terms of kind of any research behind it, is actually a meta-analysis. That's a collection of studies that someone's done. So they look at a collection of studies and they try to kind of see a trend from that. And they've been able to identify that it's actually helped to reduce cholesterol levels in people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Again, really positive. And for some people, when they took bay leaf oil, they found that the asthma was improved. So again, a really positive property from bay leaves. In animal studies, bay leaves have been shown to improve brain function, reduce lung inflammation, increase wound healing, and reduce chemical and electrical induced seizures. So loads of benefits of natural herbs and seasonings that we use in our current cooking, and I'll be using today. And then in terms of supermarket shopping tips, so let me just move you guys over here. You've probably noticed when you go to supermarket at a certain time, there's a few more yellow stickers out than there are at other times. So this will typically be, let's say if there's a 24-hour store, or you know, a store that closes around 10 o'clock. So from 7 o'clock in the evening onwards, you typically see kind of foods being reduced, or they're approaching their sell-by date, so the price tag on them is lower. Again, I would say don't be put off by that. The food is just as good, it just means it's coming close to its use-by date. So there's no harm in buying those foods, be it washing it, prepping it, and then freezing it. So then that kind of extends the shelf life of that food that you bought. If you've got any cashback apps or club points, do definitely make the most of them. It could be, you know, each time you go to the petrol station, certain supermarkets will add club points to your card. It could be that, you know, certain deals are only available for certain club points. So again, certain deals are only available if you have a club card. So it's an incentive to have one. And then once a month, you tend to kind of get a letter with, be it vouchers or special discounts, because you are an owner of a store club card or a store kind of discount card. So definitely do utilize them. Yes, use the reduced aisle section. Buy seasonal fruits and vegetables. So you might notice when you do go to a supermarket that at the front of a fruit and veg aisle, they have, you know, particular deals on fruits and vegetables in season, because they're going to have more of those fruits and vegetables likely to be in surplus. Do go down that aisle first, or kind of, you know, try and pick fruits and vegetables from that aisle first, because you might finally get a better deal on those than you would do otherwise. For example, I got the kale, which was discounted, whereas if I tried to get something which was, you know, more of a summer vegetable, be like white cabbage, then the price of that might be slightly higher as well. Don't go shopping while you're hungry. And I think it sounds logical, but you're more likely to make bad food choices and bad buying choices if you are hungry at a supermarket. So your brain will see certain foods and snacks and think, oh, I need that. And then you come home with loads of little ingredients and bits and bobs, as opposed to food, which is actually going to sustain you for the week. So avoid going when you're hungry, write a shopping list, do a meal plan, so you've actually got something to go to the supermarket with, as opposed to just kind of aimlessly picking foods. Be wary of bad supermarket deals. So you might find that, and supermarkets, whether they do it intentionally or not, they will leave old coupon vouchers, old deal stickers out, for a day or two or even a week past then the deal expiring. You might find that there's a 2-for-1 on an item, but if you were to buy the item which was larger, that actually works out cheaper. It might be 50 grams difference between getting 2 items or the larger one, but ultimately that is a cost saving, so do be wary of that as well. I'd also say don't be worried about, Sylvia, you've got your arm up, yes?
Yeah, so someone has a question. She's asking, with the bay leaf, how do you get the other nutritional values? Do you have to prepare like tea and drink, or just add a few to your meat during food preparation? So she wants to know how to get the nutritional values out of, yeah.
Benefits. So the studies kind of related to this particular, so the use of bay leaf related to this particular study is referring to bay leaf oil, because it's basically in its more potent form. So the oil is going to have a slightly higher potency. How you would source bay leaf oil, I don't know. And if it is online, the level of the effective ingredient will differ, because it's not at a point where it can be medicinal or it can be prescribed. One tub of bay leaf oil is going to be different to another. So I would say if you regularly use it in your cooking anyway, please continue. From what I understand, there isn't any side effects of overusing it, but I will double check. But as of anything, too much of anything will kind of have some negative effects. So if you're using 1 or 2 leaves, in your cooking, please continue to do that. If you did want to trial, bay leaf oil, kind of try to source it from somewhere sustainable, that's another option as well. But just to be mindful that the potency of the active ingredient will likely differ between different oils that you might buy. It's a good point, actually. Let's have a break for questions. Any other questions?
Yes, so I've got a few.
Yeah.
So with teen foods, what do you think we should look out for when buying teen food? Like, do we just go to the teen food section and just pick any teen foods, or there are specific things that we have to look out for?
There's certain foods which we would say are good tinned foods, and certain things we'd say probably aren't as good. So tinned pulses, beans, lentils, we would label as good, whereas tinned meats in the form of, be it like spam, corned beef, those are the ones we want to be a bit more wary of and have them in lower amounts. Tinned fish, on the other hand, we would say is actually good. So the reason for those differing kind of labels is that, like I said at the beginning, so tinned beans and pulses have gone through that semi-process of it being softened and pre-cooked already. So as opposed to dried beans, which kind of need that soaking to remove I hate using the word toxin, but it does have a toxin in it, which can make us ill. So if we're going to get it dried, we need to soak it, whereas if we get it tinned, we don't need to do that process. Tinned fish is a really affordable way of getting our fish into our diet, and a really affordable way to get omega-3 as well, in the form of tinned sardines, tinned salmon, tinned mackerel. Tinned tuna, unfortunately, isn't a source of omega-3, whereas fresh tuna is. The process of kind of fresh to tinned removes the omega-3, which is a shame. And when it comes to kind of on the angle of tinned, keeping an eye on a rice, don't want it to burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm stopping.
Okay.
Chicken. All right, everything's going right. And then in terms of tinned, sorry, what was I saying? Tinned fish is fine. Yeah, so other tinned things would be like tinned vegetables, tinned peas, tinned carrots. You want to try and look at the ones which have no added salt or reduced salt.
Okay.
If they do have salt in it, rinsing that water off, so don't use that water in the cooking. But if you do use that water in the cooking, you don't need to add any more salt into your cooking. So it's all about balance. I mean, obviously we do need a little bit of salt just for that flavour. We don't need to go overboard with that. And things like baked beans, really great source of protein as well, kind of natural plant-based protein. When it's in a tomato sauce, it can actually count towards one of our 5-a-day portions, which is another great kind of added benefit. And which is, so a lot of supermarket brands have actually got their own versions of baked beans, so they don't necessarily have to go for the branded Heinz, Branston sort of kind of go-to ones anymore. You can go for a supermarket brand, cheaper, and they have a reduced or a no added salt or a reduced or no added sugar option. So that's my take on kind of tinned foods. They have a long shelf life, they tend to be affordable. Go for the reduced salt or no added options.
Okay, because I've been leaning towards tinned food a bit this period, so just needed to clarify that. But then what about tinned fruits? I've never really tried tinned fruits because I don't know. Are they also
tinned fruit? So let's say if someone needs to so you tend to have two types of tinned fruit in fruit juice and tinned fruit in syrup. So the tinned fruit in syrup is going to be higher in calories, whereas a tinned fruit in the juice is going to be, reduced in calories. It all comes down to your taste preference, but if we're kind of trying to be mindful of our health and our hearts and our weight, and we're trying to kind of keep that under control, I would steer towards the tinned fruit in juice. And if you are going to keep, if you're going to have the juice as part of that, kind of snack or meal or a complement to another dish, just be mindful that would class, that would be that is adding additional sugar, good sugar because it's fruit juice, but it is adding additional sugar to that meal. Whereas syrup itself is, just very, it's refined sugar in its purest form. So avoiding syrup, if you are going to have tinned fruit, go for the one in fruit juice.
Okay, that makes sense. So because I have a tinned mango fruit, so I could try that. Be on the safe side. So one last question about tinned foods. What happens when you open the food and you can't finish it? Back in Africa, we used to have this myth that if you put an opened canned food in the fridge, you probably get bacteria and you can't eat it again, or something's going to happen. So is that a myth, or is that an actual thing?
Across the board, yes. It would say if you are using any tinned goods, be it beans, fruit, meat, fish, if you can't use the whole tin, take it out and put it into a container. Into a sandwich bag. Avoid kind of covering it with foil or tin or cling film and putting it in the fridge. So because the tin around it can effectively oxidize and just taint the food inside. So you want to avoid keeping open tinned foods in the fridge. Definitely decant it into a small container or a sandwich bag, a zip and lock bag.
Ziploc bag. Okay.
In the freezer. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. That clarifies that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like the whole idea when you started off with the tip you gave us about having to get spice jars and then buying bags of spice. So apparently that's something I realized, because I figured that every time I go to the supermarket, I'm buying spices for £1 something, £2 something, and then when I'm done, I can't use the bottle anymore. I dispose of the bottle. So I figured, I'm like, okay, why not just get the bag and then get spice jars? And that has been very easy for me. Yeah. Also, another tip that I found was easy is because I cook a lot with fresh herbs. So most times I get fresh herbs in the pack, but then I figured, why not just get the ones that are already planted, the potted ones? Mm-hmm. And then that I figured that lasts longer for me and is always fresh whenever I want to use it too.
Yeah. And same with the fresh potted plants, is a really good point. If you were to kind of put a plastic bag over it, it almost creates its own little greenhouse. And that makes it last even longer.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can show you my chili plants, but they're quite sad looking. But when they were flourishing, I'll pick them off, wash them off, and then put them in the freezer. So I've got a bag of chilies right now. Some of them we've been able to dry and they're in the cupboard right now, but a lot of the fresh ones, I actually use some of the fresh ones for the chicken. Yeah.
Okay.
Pick them, froze them, chop them up and put it in your food. Same with your fresh ones. So if you wanted to make, kind of have your own herbs later,
Yeah.
stop them, freeze them. When you're ready to have them, just sprinkle them into the food and they're ready to go.
Ah, nice. That's nice, because really with this whole economic crisis thing, I've been watching a lot of storage tips videos. So there was one I saw that like she chopped up all the herbs and then she put them into ice cubes, into an ice cube tray and froze them. Yeah.
Yes.
So basically whenever she wanted to use them, just pick one out and just use them and have cooking.
You can do that with lime juice. You can do that with lemon. So if you're someone that uses lime or lemon to pre-season or wash meat or fish, cut all the lemons up and the limes up, then you can squeeze them into little ice cubes, and similar to what you said, when you need them, pop them out the freezer. Same with coconut milk. I cannot use a whole tin of coconut milk.
Coconut milk, it's
really hard. So the rest of the tin, decant it into little freezer cubes, put them in the freezer, and when you need them, pop them and put them into your soup, curries. The freezer is our best friend right now.
Okay.
And it's actually good to keep full. It's a good kind of use of its energy. So
yes.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. But then there's one particular type of food that I'm not sure. I know I've had this argument with a friend before. What's the best way to preserve plantains? Most of us eat plantains. So what's the best way? Some people say just leave it out, but then if you leave it out, it tends to like ripen faster.
Yeah. I guess it depends on how you like the plantain to be or plantain to be. It's if you want it to continue ripening, you don't mind it getting riper, then leave it out in a cool, dark place. Okay. Similar with like as avocados ripen quickly in a cool, dark place. But plantains, you want to kind of keep in a cool, dark place away from other fruits, particularly other bananas. If you have don't be tempted to leave it near a fruit bowl, because they tend to, particularly with bananas, they tend to spray like a ripening agent. I'm not sure on the full term of it, just to help it ripen quicker. And you might notice you put bananas next to other fresh fruit. The fresh fruits spoil really quickly.
Yeah.
So keep your bananas away from fruits, and I definitely say try to keep the plantain away from other fruits and veg. If you want it to ripen quicker, definitely keep it in a warm place. If you want it to kind of stay, it's kind of lovely yellow with a few black lines running through it, so you can see it's a little bit sweeter, then kind of keep it in the coolest, darkest cupboard you can put it in. Would be the better place to do it.
I kind of figured that, okay, what works for me, I learned this while in uni about chemistry or something like that. So you have to wrap the head to stop it from ripening. So I think they told us to wrap the head with like foil paper and just put it in the fridge. Yeah. So apparently that's what's been working for me. Okay. So it tends to stay longer. But then someone said it doesn't work for them. Others say it doesn't work for them. But for me, that actually does work.
I wonder what they've got in the fridge with the plantain.
With the plantains, probably. Yeah.
Interaction there. But that'd be interesting too. But that's a tip. I'll definitely try that. Thank you. So kind of wrap the ends with what, paper or foil? Yeah,
with foil paper. So just wrap the ends with foil paper at the head of the plantain, and it tends to stay longer. So same thing too with Nusrat. So Nusrat says, she says she always keeps hers in the fridge too. Okay.
Yeah, we tend to keep ours in the fridge, but I think and it depends on how ripe. If you want it to get riper, it tends to go in the fridge along with like potatoes go in the fridge.
Sorry, Irish potatoes.
Yeah, Irish potatoes put in the fridge.
Okay, because I was going to ask that too, because they always sprout early when I leave them out.
You always sprout, so Irish potatoes, sorry.
Okay.
I'm just mindful of the time, so I'm going to start cooking the veg now, just to kind of get them going, because kale take quite a while to kind of get soft. So I was going to free pour, but I'm actually going to measure the amount of oil I use. So this is just standard vegetable oil, aka rapeseed oil. Don't be tempted. I've said this before, and I will preach this until I know I can't speak anymore. but don't be tempted to buy rapeseed oil in a fancy glass bottle. Standard vegetable oil is rapeseed oil. If you look at the ingredients, it'll be, I wish I could show you, but the label's fallen off. Standard vegetable oil tends to be 100% rapeseed oil, and that's the oil which is high in something called polyunsaturated fats, which supports good heart health, and it's the one that we want to try and include in our diet, as opposed to trying, you know, kind of be wary about. Things like, unfortunately, palm oil, coconut oil tend to be that they are the saturated fats, or they're higher in saturated fats, so to keep them to a minimum. So if we are using any coconut oil or palm oil, try to reduce that and then compensate with standard vegetable / rapeseed oil instead. Okay, so we'll have that cook off. Are there any more questions, Sylvia? Because I think this is good.
Well, yeah, when you finish, I guess.
Yeah.
Or do you want me to shoot?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the trick you showed us about the tissue and the veggies, having to put tissue inside the veggie pack, does that also work for fruits? So can I do that with strawberries and can I do that with fruits? Can I do that with fruits? Yeah.
So fruit, so for example, so strawberries is your example. Can you put a tissue in the bag and have it?
Yeah, or with raspberries.
As effective, because there's not so much there's not much moisture in a bag of strawberries or a bag of grapes. Those, if you want to kind of increase their shelf life, you're better off keeping in the fridge. Something like lettuce or cabbage actually does better in a bowl of water, and then put that in the fridge. So something like iceberg lettuce or any kind of standard lettuce heart that you get from the supermarket. If you want to peel off the leaves, or if you want to cut it at the root and put it in a big bowl of water, keep it in the fridge, that keeps its freshness much longer.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's nice. What about with raspberries? Because I noticed that whenever I buy them, they're usually always really moist, and after 2-3 days they start to mold. Mold. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So where there is any moisture in it, definitely do take it out. So sometimes it's on that sponge layer.
Yeah.
So any of that sponges are really quite wet and moist. The point of it is to remove moisture so it lasts longer. And if you're finding that that's already quite moist, then replacing it with some tissue would be a way to make it last longer. So as I say, I've just kind of fried up some onion and garlic. Great antimicrobial, antibacterial vegetables that we like to use in a lot of our cooking. And it gives a great kind of base flavour to everything. And I've just chopped some sweet peppers in there as well. So let that get soft. Put the heat down. And really simple seasoning with that. It seems like it's taking longer. I'm just taking my time with it. But this would be a really quick dinner. And the chicken's looking really good as well. I'm going to temperature up a little bit actually. That'll be done. Lovely. Any other questions?
Yeah, so in terms of saving, would you advise to do monthly shopping or weekly shopping? Which one do you think?
So I don't want to sound like a politician. The answer to that is buy what you need. I think we kind of get in a habit of overbuying, and then we end up, buying more than what we need. So then by doing that, we end up spending more than we need to. If that means, if you can do a monthly shop and then, clear the fridge, clear the cupboard, clear the freezer, and then do another monthly shop, clear, and then kind of go into those cycles, perfect. If you know you're not one who can do that, then do your weekly shops. I think kind of doing small and frequent shops can enable you to make sure that you're buying fresh, or the things that need to be fresh if you are buying fresh. And it means that you're not kind of overbuying and wasting your things as well. But things like dried and tinned, things which can be kept in the freezer, which can be bought in bulk, buy in bulk. So I hope that kind of answers your questions. It literally just depends on your cooking style, on how many people you're cooking for. Because there's, you know, in the UK, we were lucky to have quite a few supermarkets where you can buy things in bulk, you know, things like Costco, Macro. You can buy, you know, 20 chicken legs and, you know, things in quite a big amount. And if you have the freezer space, that's perfect. But you don't want to buy that and find you're forcing yourself to eat chicken every day to clear it, because there's no space for it. So yeah, buy what you have the storage facilities for. And like I said from the beginning, it's all about planning as well. So planning your meals out. If you know, so planning your meals for the week. If yeah, you know you're going to be out, or you're going to be away, or you've got people coming around, that's going to determine how much food you buy over the course of the week.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
It's not going crazy. All right, I'm just going to check on my rice. Pork. Actually looking pretty good. That's pretty much done. I'm going to bring it to the camera. That's like rice pretty much done. Keeping the black eyed peas in there. Yeah, so I'm going to turn that off. So yeah, just doing the vegetable complement now. File. So I've gone through kind of like a medley of a mixture of different vegetables, different colours. We know that different fruits and veg hold different amounts of vitamins and minerals in them. So if we can try and kind of get a nice mixture of colours on your plate, not only does it look enticing, you know, it looks colourful and great to eat, you're more likely to be hitting those micronutrient targets as well. So as much colour and variation on the plate, the better. Yeah, so I'll let that stew down as well, just so it's nice and soft, and add the kale in as well. In terms of market tips, I've stopped sharing, but essentially it'd be things like, if you do kind of, yeah, you've got your local African or Caribbean shop that you go to, building a rapport with them enables you to kind of get, you know, the price knocked down a little bit. So that's always really handy. It might be worth traveling a little bit further away to an area where the price might be a little less. Obviously kind of looking at the time cost benefit of that, because if you're spending more to travel further out, it might not be worth, you know, the time or the money for, like, you know, cheaper breadfruit, green banana, things like that. Yeah, so yeah, it might be better kind of doing it more locally. If you can, ask them to things like yam, breadfruit, sometimes might be worth, they usually do offer, but getting them to cut it in the middle so you can see what it looks like, checking it's not rotten, so you're not buying, you know, a bad piece of yam or a bad piece of cassava. And in the same breath, don't feel bad about, or don't be concerned or worried about going back to the shop and asking for your money back if that food isn't, you know, up to par. If, you know, it looks good once you cooked it, it's, you know, kind of sour, it tastes like it's off. Yeah, don't feel a way about going back to the store and asking for your money back.
Yeah, so that bit you actually mentioned about yam, I think that's a problem that most of us have here in the UK, getting yam that is actually good.
Yeah.
Like, I can buy a piece of yam now, and in my head, oh, this can last me for like a week, just 2 days, and the yam is already bad.
Bad. I mean, yeah, it's for a lot of reasons, isn't it? It's the transportation to come here. It's how it's been stored prior to us buying it. So, yeah, if we can ask them to cut it so they can see what it looks like, and check that it doesn't, you know, there's no kind of weird kind of seeping, and it looks fresh. That's, yeah, the best thing to do. The same with like pumpkin, and other provisions that we might eat as well.
Okay.
Yeah, things like yam again would be best to kind of keep in the paper bag, try and kind of prevent it from getting too moist in the fridge, or if you were to leave it out, to try and kind of increase its shelf life. Because sometimes if you buy it, we don't want to have to kind of go back and forth to the shop to, you know, get the same thing. So you tend to buy those in a bit of bulk. But yeah, kind of, if we can, keep it in a paper bag, so that kind of hopefully dries it out a little bit, so it has a longer shelf life at home and in the fridge.
Okay, so you're advising we keep it in the paper bag, we just leave it in the paper bag.
Yeah.
Okay, what about onions?
Onions, so sometimes they sprout, so they actually last longer in the fridge. If things like onions and potatoes, when they're left in dark places, they're kind of primed to start sprouting. And when they do sprout, it's absolutely fine. Doesn't mean that they've gone bad.
Yeah.
You can still eat them. Just a case of kind of using the sprouts in cooking, or if you don't like the look of them, you can cut them up and maybe blend them up and use them in something else. But yeah, they will last longer in the fridge. If you wanted to cut them up and freeze them, so I've got some chopped onions. I haven't used all of them, so
Okay.
I will probably either leave it in the fridge, or I could put it in a sandwich bag and put it in the freezer.
Okay.
Yeah, again,
yeah,
elongating its shelf life as much as we can. So what am I going to put in this? I'm going to put a little bit of salt. And where's my baby? What I don't have. Let's put it in the leaves. So a bit of garlic, it's garlic in it already. It's garlic. Wasn't meant to. We'll do it random. That's looking great right now. So that's just like steaming away.
yeah.
Really nice and bright. It's great. So I'm going to go over the salt. So literally, it's like 2 pinches of salt there. Add. And some coriander. Give that a stir. So these vegetables could be swapped for absolutely anything else. It doesn't necessarily have to be these. It could be chopped tomatoes. It could be bitter leaf. It could be callaloo. It could be spinach. It could be greens. As long as you've got a vegetable portion in with your main meal, that's the main thing. And if it's too much, it's a case of letting it cool down and then putting it in plastic or a glass container and putting it in the fridge. Don't be tempted to let it, well, 2 things really. Don't be tempted to put it in the fridge while it's still warm, because that will affect the temperature of the fridge itself. And then it can potentially spoil other foods which are in there. And also don't be tempted to kind of put it in the fridge in its pan, because that's just, taking up space. When you could, decant it into a container, stack them up, and you've got, be it meal prep or kind of vegetables already in the fridge ready to go. I'm just seeing the time. Oh no, I've only got a minute left. Okay, I was going to see, may not be able to see it plated up, but I want to show you how the chicken is looking now. See if it needs turning over.
So for someone who doesn't have large fridge space, what are the best food items to store on probably like the kitchen counter? Like what fruits would you recommend to store on the kitchen counter? What type of food would you recommend, food items to store on the kitchen counter?
Things like fruits, vegetables would be easy to store on the kitchen counter. Like standard fruits. Grapes would be fine to leave out. I'm just gonna let it cook a bit longer. So it's looking good, but we want it's a little bit drier, thing for more colour. So we won't get super plated version. So other things like tin, if you did, tin foods could be left out, they could be stacked. You could create some shelving in the kitchen, and then things like herbs and spices can be left out as well. I think as long as it doesn't need to be kept refrigerated, there's no harm in kind of keeping it out. It's absolutely fine. Are there any specific foods people are wondering about?
Not really. That's just what I wanted to ask. Yeah. Okay. So does anyone have any questions before we hand over to Orlando?
Can I quickly share again my just the discount codes and things?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Across in an email if people want. If you do have any questions, please share. So I went over the market tips, asking for a sample. So discount codes, places like Groupon, Money Saving Expert are really good places to start. There are loads of offers for doing your first order online with a discount, be it 50% off, free delivery, and kind of other codes associated with that. Coupons are found within magazines and newspapers, even things like kind of the newspapers you'd see on tube stations or at transport stations. Definitely do have a flick through them and collect them. Even things like cereal boxes tend to have coupons and things like that on them. So be mindful before throwing them away, kind of what vouchers could be attached to them. NHS and public sector workers might have access to something like a blue light card or things like healthcare discounts, .co.uk, which tend to offer other vouchers and percentages off foods. And even if a supermarket or a shop doesn't, outwardly advertise that they do discounts for NHS or public sector, please just show them your ID card. You never know what discounts you might get. Students, Unidays app, and then similar, showing your card at the till. And if anyone, and for women who are pregnant or have children or families where there's a child under 4, there's something called the Healthy Start vouchers, which is a government scheme that people can apply for. So that's just simply going through the DirectGov website to get access to those vouchers. We can speak to a GP about that as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sorry for going over. Sorry for sharing the final dish, but I'll take a picture and I'll email it to you.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Jasmine. It was amazing having you over. I'm sure we all learned a couple of shopping tips and the best way to preserve our meals. Thank you so much for coming. So I'll hand over now to Orlando.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Am I live? You right, Daniel? Okay.
Yes, you're live, Orlando. Just need to make you co-host. There you go. Yep, we're doing you, Orlando.
To go. Just put me on spotlight if you can. There we go. Hello, people, and welcome to a special Healthy Hearts fitness session. Thank you, first of all, thank you, Jasmine, for that amazing live cooking demonstration. I wish I could have followed suit, but it's only lunchtime around here. So today's session, we've got a circuit session planned, a full body circuit session planned. You knew I couldn't stay away from you for too long, people. So yeah, full body circuit plan today. I am live and direct from Alberta, Canada. It's kind of cold, it's quite cold out, but it's sunny as well, which is always a bonus. All right, so as normal for today's session, all you need is a mat or cushion or carpet if you're hardcore, plenty of water and a nice big space. All right, like I said, we're going to do a full circuit, okay? We're going to hit full body. All right, so like we normally do, let's start off with a warm-up. We're going to jog on the spot for 30 seconds. Let me get my timer up. And let me get my tunes up as well. Take that wrong right back. So 30-second jog on the spot, people. Get ready. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Jog on the spot, people. That's it, people. Keep that going nice and light. getting the blood flowing, getting those joints and muscles nice and warm. I've got my iPad on today, so I'm going to zoom in and out. 3, 2, 1. Next one, squat down, touch the floor, and reach high. Keep that going, people. Reach nice and tall. Three, 2, 1. Okay, reach across. Nice long arms. Let's go, people. 15 seconds left. Four, 3, 2, 1, and time, people. Quick water break, and then we're going to go straight back into that warm-up. Just speaker a little bit closer. 15 seconds.
Damn, got it. Damn, got it.
Okay, people, get straight back into that warm-up. So next move, we've got 30 seconds of heel flicks. So we're going heel to bum. Ball flex. Okay, get ready. Back to your spaces, people. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Heel flicks. Keep that going, people. Keep that going. Three, 2, 1. Let's go. Hip rotations. Nice and quick now. Change direction. Front to back. Three, 2, 1. Okay, last move. We're gonna lunge down. I'm gonna twist both sides. Okay, come up, change leg. Let's go. Go, people. 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's time, people. Quick water break. And then we're going to get into round 1 of our circuit. Well done. "15 seconds, my people." right, people, listen in, round one. So, round one, we have 4 exercise moves, and each move we're going to work for 60 seconds at a moderate pace, okay? Moderate to high pace, depending on your fitness ability. All right, so first 2 moves coming your way. First one, we've got floor jumps. So we're going to be here. Tap the floor, stay with one hand for 30 seconds. So tap the floor, tap the ceiling. Tap the floor, tap the ceiling. After 30 seconds, we'll change. Floor, ceiling, floor, ceiling. All right, from there, we've got calf raises. All right, so dig the balls of your feet into the ground. Wait for this camera to come down. And then from there, we're digging the balls of the feet in. I'm just raising the heels, so nice and strong. Raise. Raise, okay? Throughout the move, keep that core nice and engaged. So keep that core nice and locked in. Keep the knees nice and strong. Slight arch in that back. And raise from the ground. Okay, so we've got floor jumps. Stay with one hand, 30 seconds, then change. Straight to calf raises. All right, so your first 2 moves, people. Let's get busy now, come on. Special edition now, come on. Okay, start with your floor jumps. Back to your spaces, get ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Seconds, keep that going. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, change out. Let's go. Seconds, keep that going. Last 10. 3, 2, 1. Okay, give yourself 20 seconds rest. Get those deep breaths in. We've got calf raises, get ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go, calf raises. Nice and strong core. Once you get to the top, really squeeze those calves. Keep that going. Halfway, 30 seconds gone. Last 15 seconds, people. And relax, people. 20-second water break. Well done so far, so good. 2 moves down, 2 to go in this round. All right, listen in while you're resting. So bring your mats in now. Bring your mats if you've got them handy, or your cushions. Next 2 moves are from the floor. So let's see if this camera will pan down to be on the floor. iPad. That's it. It's like having a cameraman with me. All right, so next move. You can go with your knees down or knees up. It's up to you. But these are called half Supermans. So from here, or there, Down into your push-up. One hand up. Again, watch me again. Down into your push-up. One hand up. Same with knees down. Hips, shoulders go down at the same time. So we're here. As we come up, one there. Down as we come up, one there. From there, we've got an extended arm plank. All right, so the top end of a press-up position like this. Core nice and tight, bum nice and tight, and hold there. 60 seconds. All right, if you have to come down, a quick shake off, and then go back up, that's completely fine. All right. So, half Supermans to plank. That's your next two moves, people. Get ready. Get ready. Okay, let's start now. Get ready, people. Into your press-up position. On the drop. 2, 1, go. Keep that going. Halfway. 20 seconds to go. Keep that going. Keep that going, people. 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Stay where you are. Rest for 20 seconds. Okay, people, extended arm block next. Get ready. 2, 1, let's go. Take your mind elsewhere and just hold, hold. Keep holding, people. 20 seconds to go. Keep holding. Last 15 seconds. Three, 2, 1, and time, people. Well done. Give yourself a full 60 seconds break. Get that water in. Shake off what you need to shake off. And get ready for round number 2. Twenty seconds, people. All right, people, listening for round number 2. Set this down. So round number 2, people. Cardio, first 2 moves of cardio conditioning. All right, so first move, we've got a run. So run to skis. Run to skis. And we're gonna go 15 seconds apiece. All right, run, ski, break. From there, we're gonna go straight into star jumps. All right, so star jumps, nice and powerful. Star jumps. 30 seconds there, 30 seconds there. Let the sweat drip. All right, so we've got runs to skis and star jumps, both sides. All right, people, back to your spaces. Get this back on. Get yourself ready, people. Start off with run, ski switch. Get ready, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Work. Keep going, keep going. 2, 1, skis. Keep going. Let's run, let's go. Keep that going, keep that going. Skis. Three, 2, 1, time. Give yourself a 30-second break. Next conditioning move will be star jumps. "15 seconds, people, and we're back in. Okay, get ready. We've got star jumps in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 30 seconds this way. Keep working, people. Keep that heart rate up. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the now. Let's go. You got going, my people. 15 seconds to go. Three, 2, 1. Now relax, people. 30-second rest. Get those deep breaths in. Take a few sips of water if needed. All right, people, listen in while you're resting. So 2 more moves, 2 more moves. So next move, we've got wide squats. Wide squats. So if normal squats are about here, take a step either side and turn your feet diagonally slightly. Outwards slightly. Up. And from there, we're going to squat down as deep as we feel comfortable. So squat down nice and deep. From there, explode up, squeeze. So nice and wide, drop down, up, squeeze, nice and strong. Wide squats. From there, we're going to bring that foot back in on the balls of our feet, and we've got jump ups. Staying on the balls of the feet, really exploding with the quads. So first move, squats here, nice and wide. Then we've got a quick rest. And then from there, on the balls of our feet, we're going to jump. Let's get ready for the last two moves now. Let's go. So start with the wide squats. Get yourself ready. Let's go with a drop. Get in your stance. 3, 2, 1, go. Keep that going, people. Keep that going. Seconds to go. Last 10. Three, 2, 1. Okay, quick rest this time, 15 seconds. We go straight into our jump ups. Get ready, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Keep that going, people. 20 seconds gone. Keep it going. Seconds to go. Keep pushing, people. Last 10. Three, 2, 1. And that's time, people. Well done. Very well done. Okay. Have a quick water break, 20 seconds, and then we'll cool down and stretch off. All right, people, back to your spaces. Let's cool down after a tough session. All right, start off with legs apart, hands on the hips, and we're going to go neck side to side. Okay, arms by your side, ear to shoulder. Let's go arm half movements. Start with either arm. Change arms. Okay, hip rotation is nice and slow. Change direction. Front to back. Okay, legs together. Nice soft knees. Try and touch your toes. Come up nice and slow. Shake it all off. And that's time, people. Daniel, are you still around? Let's turn this down. You still around, Daniel?
Yes, thank you, Orlando, for that wonderful session. I didn't know you were still in Canada. I thought you were back.
Oh no. it feels weird doing it at this time, actually, at lunchtime, as opposed to like evening, last thing. It's definitely
what time is it over there?
Right now it's 12:30 now. 12:30.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's lunchtime.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that circuit session, and we'll be following up with another circuit session next week. And I also want to thank Jasmine and Sylvia for hosting this session and going through those healthy, affordable meals with the live demonstration. I hope you guys can take some things home from that session. I know I will, especially the discounts bit that you mentioned. Being a student, I picked up some things that I can use in my day-to-day life. So anything else from you, Orlando, before we cover it?
So we're back again from Canada next week, Tuesday. We are continuing with the circuit, but we're going to break it down by body half. So we're going to go upper body next week. It's going to be an upper body circuit class next week. So everybody be ready. We're going to work on the chest, back, upper back, lower back, arms, shoulders, and core as well. So yeah, that's how we're going to do it.
Okay, thank you, Orlando. And with that, I wish everyone a good night and take care of yourselves. Peace.
Have a good night, people. See you later.